In my previous videos, I've mentioned a guy named redgreenvine, and he is someone who is very well versed in neuroscience. And I was talking to him recently about how the DMT experience usually shows people a lot of long stretched tube arms and specifically grins. And I talked about how Incedigris is someone who's captured the experience very well to the point where people almost get sick that when they look at it, and it just starts to bring back memories of what they've experienced. And he actually was able to explain it in a really intricate way that I actually think might be correct. But I should let you guys know that he is a materialist, so he doesn't believe that the DMT experience is anything other than an effect on our consciousness, and that our brains are essentially computers. But his explanation was actually really profound, almost, in terms of something that's never been heard before. I don't think anyone knows this knowledge, or it seems to be very esoteric what we're talking about here. So I wanted to share the conversation with you guys. So someone on Shrimmery made a report about experiencing jesters, and they even told me that, hey, this video was actually inspired by watching your video. So that was cool that he referenced me. And Red Greenvine said, Jester designs were invented by psychedelic users, tracers of bejeweled artifacts mapped onto the diminutive human form. We recognize erroneously what we see when confused, creating fairies and devils from flowers and dust bunnies. And then I responded him saying, but is this a fact or just an opinion? I'm not saying it's wrong, but judging from all the reports I've heard of these experiences, they are amazingly similar, with a similar message being conveyed. I'd love to get to the bottom of these motifs and archetypes, because it just seems too impossible that we dream such similar dreams. Would be strange to think it's just coincidence. I've been exposed to hundreds of these archetype stories from people reporting it on my channel. I still don't know what to make of it. Still seems beyond simple pareidolia and coincidence, but I could be wrong. Could be a Carl Jung collective unconscious thingy. And then Red Greenvine responded to me saying, add pareidolia to tracers and color enrichment. You don't need Carl Jung's misconceptions, bad but charming theories with no basis in fact, to use my simple and universal theories, which have consistency yet no scientific proof or references in literature. And that just means I am a bit ahead of the curve, lonely but preferable to floundering in ignorance. And then I responded to saying, so we have no answers yet, just opinions? I'd like to subscribe to your point of view, but based on the many trip reports I have been sent to me, it seems that there must be a deeper level to it. How the beings present themselves is just too specific. People often tell me artists like Incedigris capture the experience so well, it's almost like making them sick because they have to relive what they saw. The grin feature is just so common. I don't understand why lots of people's pareidolia leads to these images. And then this is what he responded to, which really kind of blew my mind and actually kind of made me a little bit more open to his point of view, I think, about this. He said, if you ever notice things are persisting longer than you are stoned, time stretches, but so does space. And thinking or feeling or resisting can both stretch both time and space even further. So striped legs and arms can lengthen. Chins stretch and the grin forms naturally as the ear tips elongate. This is a direct result of stone, time, and space thinking and feeling. And then I said, interesting breakdown. If that's true, it's fascinating that artists have picked up on that. The striped stretched limbs are reported a lot. Too bad this stuff is way too esoteric for most people to see why it's so cool. So his explanation of the psychedelic experience is basically anytime you take a psychedelic, you're increasing the resonant frequency, I guess, of our consciousness so that signals end up persisting longer, so they end up overlapping. And his explanation was tailored to that kind of theory or concept. And I believe that his theory is based on specific things that we know about neuroscience. But it's really interesting that he was able to actually break down why even the striped limbs and the grins were so common. And that's why a lot of people end up seeing clowns and jesters from it, because there's an overlap between what we remember and the things that we're seeing through our pareidolia. So I don't know if it's true because as he said, there's no scientific research on all of this, but this is just him being, thinking through these things and basically being able to understand them. If he's correct, like he should, maybe get some rewards or something about that, because that's like way beyond any understanding that we really have at the moment about why we're seeing the images that we're seeing in the psychedelic experience. And it's really cool that Incedigris was able to capture all of those things. It's almost a shame that no one really can pick up why artists like Incedigris are so amazing, because they're capturing something about neuroscience that's just way beyond anything that we have in our literature. So it's gonna be a while before anyone even gives artists like that credit for being able to dissect what's going on in our consciousness and creating art from it. That it's a shame that no one can really pick up on that. I don't think anyone's going to even be able to know that until we do enough research on this stuff and finally get into why we're experiencing the images that we're experiencing. And it's funny when you're deep into this stuff and you're pretty much getting ahead of everyone, and it's true. It's kind of lonely feeling like that, feeling like no one really understands what you're talking about until probably later. I mean, sooner or later we're going to pick up on this stuff, and then we're going to start asking the questions, but it's probably not going to be from years and years till now. So yeah, I would definitely want to know what you guys think about this theory. It really resonated with me, even though that I tend to want to believe that the psychedelic experience is beyond something other than just the material. But I'm open to anything. I don't subscribe to a specific belief system. I have no reason to. If it turns out that it's all just brain interactions and ons and off switches in our brain, that that's all right with me. And if it turns out to be something that's more mystical, then cool. But I just thought it would be interesting to report that to you guys and see what you guys think. So yeah, let me know if you think that it's a really interesting theory or not. I would be definitely interested in hearing what you guys think. And if you're new to this channel and you like the content, consider subscribing, because it does help me out a lot. And I will see you in the next video. So have a good night, guys.